names of Michael.
You can go to Dr. Gonzala.
Somebody, what should I call you during our session?
You can just call me Danny Doctor. I'm comfortable with it.
Alright, then thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this space is completely safe and confidential. And my goal is to help you understand how your thoughts, emotions, behaviors connect, and how we shape patterns that might be keeping you stuck.
Okay, that's good, Doctor.
Alright, so tell me, what
Basically, I guess you've seen it in the news, in the media, the downfall of my career. Everything feels like it's slipping away.
that must feel overwhelming? Um, what has this experience been like for you emotionally?
I've been feeling lost, empty even. I asked my family for help, but they just brushed it off saying it would pass. I know they mean well, but it hurts. I'm always there for them when they need me, but when I need them, it's like no one's there. It's so unfair, and I feel like the comfort they need give me right now is not enough.
That's an important realization, Demi. It shows how deeply your identity and sense of self worth have been tied to your work. So let's explore that further using CBT method called laddering technique. So this technique helps us uncover what's been beneath those thoughts, what we call negative automatic thoughts or NATs. Right, so and reach the deeper core belief that shape how you see yourself.
Okay, I'm ready.
Great. So you mentioned earlier that I've never gained what I earned in this industry. Let's start there. What does that thought mean to you?
It means I've failed. I look at my colleagues. They're still performing, still adored by fans, and I'm just here watching everything fade. It's like I'll never experience that success or love again.
So beneath that thought is a fear of being forgotten and unloved because of your loss of success. If it were true that you'd never experience that again, would that mean about you as a person?
It would mean that I'm a failure, that maybe I was never good enough in the first place.
And if you were a failure, what would you say about your worth or who you are deep down?
That I'm incompetent, that I can't be hold on to success, that I'm worthless.
Thank you for being honest, Demi. That's a very vulnerable belief to share. This belief, I am worthless, is we call core belief. It's often formed early in life and becomes the lens through which we interpret events.
So, this belief might be shaping how I react to everything now.
Exactly. When something is painful happens, like your career setback, it activates that deep belief, confirming the story you've been telling to yourself subconsciously that I am not good enough.
That's exactly how it feels. Like every mistake I make proves that I'm not good enough.
That's a common thinking trap in CBT called confirmation bias. Right? So we tend to focus on evidence that support our painful belief and ignore evidence that contradicts them.
I've never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. Even when people praise me, I brush it off. I always think they're just being polite or pitying me.
That's a very powerful insight. To me, it shows how you're strong that your belief is. It filters reality so that even positive things can feel fake or undeserved.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah. It sounds like you've been carrying this belief for a long time. Do you remember when you first started feeling like you had proved your worth through success?
Probably when I was a kid, I started performing really young. My family was proud, but there was a lot of pressure too. I learned early that when I did well, everyone was happy. When I didn't, things got tense.
Right. So success becomes a way to earn love and stability. And that's a very understandable response for a child, especially in an environment where praise or peace depended on performance.
Exactly. I guess that never left me. Even as an adult, I feel like if I'm doing something amazing, I'm nothing.
That's a strong confidential rule, what we call a rule for living. It sounds like one of your rules might be I must always be successful and busy or else I'm a failure.
Yes, that's me. Even when I'm exhausted, I push myself because resting feels like failing.
That's a very human yet self punishing way to live. Many high achievers internalize the kind of rule to protect themselves from rejection. You can think of another rule you might live by, especially related to show or emotions or asking for help.
Yeah, I always feel like I have to handle everything myself. I don't like showing weakness. If I do, people will see that I'm not strong as I pretend to be.
So other rule might be I must be self-reliant and never show weakness, or people will think I am incompetent.
Exactly. It's scary to let anyone see me struggle.
Right? So that's understandable to me. You've built that armor to protect yourself, but the same armor also keeps people from really supporting you.
I never thought of like that. It's like I'm protecting myself but also isolating myself.
Exactly. In CBT, we try to gently test those rigid rules by creating small, safe experiments, what we call behavioral experiments. So this helps us see whether those rules are as absolute as they feel.
Okay, what kind of experiment?
Uh, so let's focus on your rule. I must be self-reliant and never show weakness. We'll test what happens when you deliberately break the rule is a safe, low-risk way.
That sounds scary.
It often does, but that's also where the change begins. When we face the fear and collect real evidence, we often find that reality is gentler than our mind predicts. So, before we plan ish, tell me, what do you predict will happen if you break the rule and show vulnerability?
People will see me as weak. They lose respect for me, maybe even reject me.
Right. So that's a clear and honest prediction. We'll use it as a hypothesis test. Now, who's one person you trust, someone caring but not too close to cause big emotional risk? Who could you reach out to?
My mentor, Rio. We've been friends since childhood. He knows a lot about me, my family, but I haven't really talked to him since all this happened.
Perfect. He sounds like a safe person to be started with.
Yeah, he's always been kind.
Good. Then our small behavior experiment will involve reaching out to Rio and asking for help, something that breaks your unusual rule. Good afternoon, Demi. It's nice to see you again. So, how have things been since our last session?
Good afternoon to Dr. Hinsola. It's been heavy. I keep thinking about my music career, how much it's changed. I used to feel unstoppable, but lately I feel invisible.
Invisible. It sounds painful. So, when did that feeling start to come up again?
Probably when my last album didn't do as well as I hoped. Everyone had opinions, the fans, the media. It's like I gave everything and it still wasn't enough. That hit me harder than I expected.
I hear that. It sounds like you're connecting your sense of worth to how your career performs.
Yeah, exactly. I know it sounds shallow, but music has always been my identity. When people stop listening, I feel like I stop existing.
That's a powerful statement. When people stop listening, I stop existing. Let's hold on to that thought. Today, I'd like us to look at your thoughts and believe about success might be influencing the emotions you've been feeling. That sounds okay?
Yeah, I think I need that.
All right. So let's start by identifying one recent situation where these feelings hit the hardest. Something specific.
Um, the night of the award show, I wasn't nominated this year. My phone kept buzzing, people posting, celebrating. I turned it off and just cried. I kept thinking I'm not relevant anymore.
Right. So thank you for sharing that. Let's unpack that. What was going through your mind in that moment? What thoughts came up right before you start crying?
You're not good enough. Um, you pick. People are tired of you. It's like this voice in my head that won't shut up.
That voice sounds harsh. What emotion would you say it created for you?
Sadness, shame, maybe, and fear that I'll never feel that kind of love or excitement again.
So sadness, shame, and fear.
Yeah.
Those are strong emotion. In CBT, we look at the link between situations, thoughts, and emotions. Let's write it out. And so situation, no award nomination. Thoughts, I'm not good enough. Irrelevant. Emotions, sadness, shame, and fear. So, how intense were those feelings from 0 to 100?
Um, Maybe 80 or higher.
Okay. Now, what did you do after you felt those emotions?
I avoided social media for the meantime. I didn't talk to anyone for a few days. I just stayed in bed, replaying everything I could have done better.
Right. So, avoidance is a common response when emotions feel overwhelming, but it also tends to reinforce those painful beliefs. Right. So, let's explore where that beliefs, I'm not good enough, might come from. When When's the first time you remember feeling that way?
Probably as a kid, I grew up in the spotlight. Every performance, every interview, people judge everything. If I made a mistake, I felt like the end of the world. My mom would say, "You did great," but the pressure was already there.
So, from an early age, success equal approval, mistakes equal failure.
Exactly. I learned that fast. I guess I still live by it.
That belief that your worth depends on the success sounds like core belief. In CBT, a core belief is a deeply rooted idea that we hold about ourselves, like I'm not enough, or I must succeed to be loved.
Yeah, it does. I think I've always been afraid of being forgotten.
Right? That fear of being forgotten, that sounds many performers experience. Let's pause for a second. So, and that belief were true, that you're only worthy when you succeed, how would that shape your life?
Uh, I'd always been chasing something, never resting, never happy unless I'm proving myself.
Alright, so that's insightful. And has that been your experience so far?
Pretty much, when I'm on top, I feel unstoppable. But when I fall, it's like I forget who I am without the applause.
That's an important realization. Let's challenge that belief gently. Alright, so can you think of a moment outside or of fame or music when you still felt worthy or loved?
Um, Maybe when I'm with my sister, we'll just hang out, laugh at dumb things. She doesn't care about my music. She just loved me for being me.
Mm, that's a beautiful example. So, even without success, there's still evidence that you are valued and loved.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that sometimes.
That's the thing about distorted thoughts. They make us overlook evidence that contradicts them. So, let's take core belief. I'm not good enough, useless, I'm successful. When One, see if you can start reshaping it. What could be a more balanced version of that belief?
Maybe I have value even when I'm not my best, or my worth isn't based on achievements.
That's excellent. That's what we call reframe belief. It's realistic, compassionate, and it's true.
It feels strange to say it out loud, but yeah, I like that.
Right? So let's start a simple thought record. Uh, it's a CBT tool we use to capture moment like the award show night, so we can see the connection between thoughts, feelings, and behavior more clearly. So I'll guide you through it. Ready?
Sure, I think so.
Okay. So step one, describe the situation, believe what happened.
I wasn't nominated, everyone else was celebrating online, and I feel left behind.
Great, good. So next is step two. What automatic thoughts came up,
That I am irrelevant, I don't matter anymore, everyone's doing better than me.
right? Now, step three. What emotion did that create?
Sadness, shame, jealousy, guilt, and anger at myself.
Alright. Those are honest answers. Step four. Ask us to find the evidence for and against those thoughts. Alright, so let's start the evidence for I'm not irrelevant. What makes you believe that?
The numbers, streams went down. People
Mm,
talked more about new artists. I'm not trending like before.
okay, those measurable things. Now, what's evidence against that thought?
My fans still messages me. My last single still meant something to people, and I guess I've been invited to collaborate with someone, um, new producers lately.
Mm, that's right. So it's not black and white. Your relevance doesn't vanish just because of the spotlight shifts.
Maybe my career has ups and downs, but that doesn't erase my world and my worth.
Excellent. You're getting the essence of cognitive reframing, questioning the extremes and finding truth in the middle. Right. You've done a great job. Identify your inner critic, your voice, you're irrelevant, you're not enough. How does it sound to you? It is similar.
Uh, yeah, it kind sound like my old manager. He used to say things like, "You're only as good as your last performance." At the time, I thought it was motivating, but now it just echoes in my head.
Hmm. This powerful insight. Sometimes our automatic thoughts aren't really ours. They echoes of past criticism or absorbed. If that manager's voice were sitting here right now, what would you say to it?
I'd say, "I'm not your product. I'm more than numbers, more than a brand. I'm human."
That's a strong statement. Let's sit with that for a moment.
It feels freeing to say that, like reclaiming a piece of myself.
That's the essence of cognitive constructing, identifying the false voices that shape your self-view and reclaiming your truth.
So it's not just about positive thinking, huh?
Exactly. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about separating the fact from interpretations. You're learning to challenge the mental filters that distort your reality. Now, Demi, I'd like you to introduce a small behavior experiment, a practice, a practical way to test your new belief. You said earlier, your worth isn't based on achievements. Let's test that.
How do I do that?
Right? So think of one meaningful activity that gives you fulfillment, not related to fame or performance. Something simple that brings connection to joy.
Um, I love volunteering at recovery centers, talking to people who've gone through similar struggles. It makes me feel grounded.
Right, perfect. Over the next week, I'd like you to spend a day volunteering without posting or promoting it online. Just immerse yourself in the experience. Before, during, and after, take notes of how you feel about yourself without any external validation.
So, like a self worth check that doesn't depend on
Exactly.
attention.
It's your worth truly exists beyond success. This experiment will give you evidence of that.
Okay, that actually sounds good. It feels like a kind of relief. Not everything has to be for the world to see.
Yeah. That's progress. Shifting focus from external validation to external peace. Alright, so before we end today, I'd like us to reflect on what you've learned from this session. When you walked in, how did you see yourself?
Like a failure, like someone past her prime.
And how did you see yourself now?
Still figuring things out, but I see someone trying. Not worthless, just human. I've realized my career doesn't define me completely.
That's a beautiful takeaway. Growth isn't like linear, but each realization strengthens your foundation. In CBT, we call this cognitive risk contracted. In action, your brain is learning to challenge old beliefs and replace them with realistic, more compassionate ones.
It's strange. I've been through therapy before, but this time I feel like I'm actually understanding how my thoughts shape everything.
It's the beauty of awareness. Once you can see your thoughts patterns, you gain power over them instead of letting them control you. Right. So next time, I'll follow up on your behavior experiment and we see how your experience affect your new belief about worth. So from now on, take a moment to appreciate what you've done today. Facing your thoughts honestly isn't easy work.
Thank you for not treating me like a celebrity, but like a person.
You're very welcome, Demi. That's who you are and just you. Welcome back, Demi. It's nice to see you again. So we are here now in our new place for our session. So how are you feeling today?
I feel better actually. This new therapy session place signifies a new beginning for me as well. Um, I did what we talked about. I went to volunteer at the recovery center over the weekend.
That's great to hear. How did it go?
Honestly, it was amazing. I talked to a few people who were just starting their journey. I shared a bit of my story, and for once, it didn't feel like performance. It felt real, just two humans connected.
That's exactly the kind of connection we're hoping to observe. Did you notice how your self worth felt before, during, and after that moment?
Before I was nervous. Like, what if I don't help anyone? Or what if they think I'm just there for publicity? But during, it just faded. I felt at peace, and after, I felt proud, but in a quiet way. Not like I need to post this or just the content.
Beautiful reaction. So let's think about what that tells you. Did the world fall apart when you showed up without your usual armor or success or image?
Mm. No, quite the opposite. It made me feel lighter. Like I didn't have to prove anything.
That's powerful evidence against your old conditional rule. I must always appear strong and self-reliant, or I'll be seen as weak. You broke that rule and found connection, not rejection.
Yeah, and really cold afterwards, actually. We heard from someone at the center that I was there. He said that he was proud of me, not because I was not in the spotlight, but because I was helping people. And that hit me
How did that feel?
validating, but in a new way. It wasn't about achievement. It wasn't about being, I think, for the first time in a while, I saw myself as enough without music, fame, or the applause.
That's essential insight. What you're describing is a shift from conditional to unconditional self-worth, valuing yourself simply because you exist, not because you achieve.
It's crazy how something so simple can be so hard to believe.
It is, but remember, your mind spent years building those old belief systems. I'm only valuable when I'm succeeding. It takes time to unlearn them. You're already taking step forward in balance and compassion.
Yeah, I've also been thinking um, lately that I'm not broken. I'm in progress. I'm learning to value my presence, not just my performance.
That's beautiful. But Demi, that's self-compassion in action, a direct antidote to self-criticism. Sometimes when people experience public success early, their sense of identity fuses with the spotlight. When the light dims, it can feel losing the self. But we're building it now is identity that stands even when the stage is empty.
That's exactly what it feels like. Like I'm rediscovering who am I when the lights are off.
If we think your core belief before, I am competent or I am worthless without success, when the belief would be feel more true now.
Maybe I have a value beyond my career, or I am capable of rebuilding without losing myself.
Those are empowering beliefs, realistic, compassionate, and still growth oriented. How does your body feel when you say them out loud?
Grounded, like my chest doesn't feel so heavy anymore.
That's a physiological sign of a new thought pattern beginning to take hold. Here's when where tension used to live.
Um, it's wild how connected body and mind are. I used to numb everything when I feel overwhelmed. Now I can actually feel my feelings and not drown in them.
That's emotional regulation. Another CBT milestone, awareness, acceptance, and then action. Before we close today, I'd like you to reflect on the one final question. So, if the Demi setting here today could speak to the Demi from our first session, the one who felt worthless after the downfall, what would you say to her?
I'd tell her, you're not your mistakes, you're not your numbers, and you still have the light, even if it's not on the stage. And I'd tell her also that you deserve rest. You don't have to earn love.
That's a message worth remembering. You've taken hugs, steps, and three sessions, identifying your core beliefs, testing your assumption, and gathering real evidence for change. From here, we'll continue strengthening the self-worth and exploring new coping tools for when doubt creeps back in.
Thank you, really. It feels like the first time I'm facing my thoughts instead of running from them.
And that's the courage, not perfection. Remember that. From the next task, keep journaling your balanced thoughts. Just like you did this week. Capture moments where you felt worthy without achievement. We'll review them next time.
Got it, and thank you again. I actually look forward to coming back.
That's the goal, to make healing something you want to approach, not to avoid. You did wonderful work today, Demi. See you next week.
Yes. See you next.